Cumberland County, and welcome to the boiling point. So, we're going to take a moment to talk about the upcoming snowstorm that we have. So, there's a lot of news and a lot of misinformation out there. So, the best advice is stay calm, okay? Because we're gonna make it through. We really are. Okay, so this is some information that I was able to get about the snowstorm. Depending where you are, where you're located, it depends on how much snow you're gonna see. So, they're making it seem like it's a apocalypse, and it may be to some people, but being from the great state of New York that I am, oh, I see much more snow than this. Okay. Now, what they're saying as of right now is that if you're within that Harrisburg area, you're going to be looking at anything between 8 to 14 inches of snow. So that's like a foot and a half of snow, more or less. Okay. Now, the further in you are, like towards Lancaster and stuff, you may be looking at 2 feet of snow. So this is not something to take lightly, okay? Because this kind of snow can be dangerous, and it's not just the aspect of the snow; it's also the aspect of the sleet and the ice, which I believe is the most dangerous part of this. So, with that being stated, there are a couple of things that somebody was nice enough online to provide with a list of things that we should um, have ready or be prepared for when it comes to this snowstorm. First, I'm going to start saying this. If you have elderly neighbors that live alone, or neighbors that may have some medical condition, keep an eye out for them. Keep an eye out for them, because sometimes our elderly neighbors are not able to shovel the snow, nor our neighbors that may have some sort of medical conditions. And if you're shoveling your snow, and if possible, try to shovel theirs. And if you can't shovel it fully, at least a path that they can get out of the house, and just throw some little rock ice. I think they will be really appreciative until we're able to really clean the streets, in total. And if you have an elderly neighbor, sometimes our elderly, neighbors here live on a fixed income. Okay, and they might not at the moment, depending on when they get their benefit payment, have certain things. Make sure, hey, do you have like enough milk, eggs, bread, anything that you need that I can pick up, or maybe something extra that you may have in your own pantry that you can share with them. Even if it's a jar of soup or something, just make sure, I mean, have a heart. Make sure that everybody is okay. And when it comes to your pets, listen. Like right now, you may hear my dog at any minute bark in the back, or she's shaking because the wind is starting to pick up. Okay. So the wind scares her. All right. So try to comfort them, put music that is going to comfort them, hold them. If they have a little safe space, like they have a little crate where I'm at, put them in the crate, with their little toys and stuff, something that will comfort them. And when you do take them outside, remember, just because they have fur doesn't mean that they don't feel cold, unless they're like one of these dogs, like a husky, for instance, that's made for this kind of weather. If you have a little, ankle biter like me, um, put a little coat on them, little booties on them. Make sure that they, stay, warm also. And when you get home, get them out of that, clean them up, wash them up, okay? Because some of that salt out there is not good for them either. Make sure that their water in the house don't freeze, and then you have enough food for them too, And if you don't, just cook up some like a potato or something and put some peas, a little bit of protein in there, and they should be able to eat it. No salt, please, no salt. Okay. All right. So let's get to how to prepare for this storm. All right. So the first thing is, if you have cell phones, okay, power banks, tablets, laptops, rechargeable lanterns, any of that kind of a thing, start charging it up now and let it, get to a full charge. Fill your car tanks up in case the stations lose power. Okay, so make sure you have a full tank. And also, it protects the car to have a full tank. Okay, get some cash from the bank in small bills, in case the systems like the ATM systems go down. If you take prescriptions, okay, make sure that you have your prescription and medication to last you, okay, through this snowstorm. And pick them up early if you can. Okay, so And you can actually see it offline. That gives you a little something to do. Or pick up the Bible and read it for those who haven't been reading it for a while. Okay. Um, because there's always the possibility of us losing power. Okay. And if you lose power, your furnace goes down. Okay. So identify one warm room in the house to camp out if the power fails. Okay. Because that's usually that one little room that keeps warm. Okay. So identify what room that is, in case you have to go in there to sleep tonight, let's say, or whenever the storm starts, because the power went off. And remember to take your pets with you also into that room. Now, very important, locate your water shut-off valve and the breaker box now, not later, because you don't know, God forbid, a pipe burst or something that you need to, shut off that water. And when it comes to your fridge, make sure that your fridge and your freezer is at the coldest setting right now to hold the temperature longer in case the power goes off. And if you have like an ice maker machine, start making ice, okay, and saving the ice, because if the power goes off and you have um, a thermos, or you have an igloo, okay, or something like that, put some ice in there, okay, and put your meats and things that will not spoil for a little bit. Okay, that should help you also. Um, when it comes to your water in your pipe, drip your faucets on the interior walls when temperatures drop below freezing and your exterior walls. So have your faucet, running a little bit. Okay. And it's better if you have it running on warm water. Okay. Just have it running. That way it keeps the water going, it doesn't freeze. Okay. And not just downstairs, but upstairs also. Okay. Because, the faucets are not connected. Open your cabinets in your kitchen and allow the warm air to go into under the sinks with those pipes that allow that warm air circulation. If you have any garden hose connected, disconnect it and cover your faucets with insulated caps or towels. Now, know how to shut off the water quickly if the pipe bursts. And when it comes to water, a lot of us have conditions, and our elderly, senior citizens sometimes need water for the medications. Fill up jugs, buckets, okay, for a daily consumption if you haven't bought bottles, which is what we do, but let's face it, some people on a budget. Okay, so fill up jugs or bottles if you can now, okay, or go and purchase a couple of cases of water and have it on hand. And also, you may want to fill up your tub for water for flushing and washing. Now, these are, in extreme cases. I mean, with 8 and 14 inches of snow, I don't think a lot of these things are going to happen, but it depends. It's not, so much during the snowstorm. It's after that it's going to be extremely cold. So I hear, so you have to be ready for that. Okay. When it comes to the food and your kitchen prep, you should keep at least 3 to 5 days of no cooked food like peanut butter, tuna, bread, crackers, canned meats, fruit cups, pudding on hand. And you should have a manual can opener. Okay. And you can also buy powdered milk or some of that camping milk. Okay. That comes like in a little box that's shelf stable so that you can give the kids. Okay. Freeze a few bottles of water if you don't have an ice machine, and you can use that as ice packs. And keep a cooler ready by the fridge in case you have to move food out, and put it in the cooler because the electricity went off and the temperature, well, in your fridge is starting to get warm. You don't want to lose your products. And also, you may want to avoid stocking large amounts of perishables right before the storm. Okay, get your perishables a little bit before the storm, not way. Um, let's say get perishables. Okay, um, not a lot. Whatever you may need. So there's people that they like their deli meats. Let's say. So instead of you buy 3, 4 pounds, it's like get a pound. Okay, something that your family's gonna eat, and it's not gonna go to waste if the electricity goes off. Now, when it comes to heat and home safety, always have extra blankets and sleeping bags and warm layers, and know where your clothes is at. Keep it ready in case the electricity go down and you have to dress up in layers. You don't have to be walking around with a candle trying to find your stuff. And if you're using a fireplace, confirm that your chimney is clear and you have dry wood. Never run generators or grills inside garages or home. It may be tempting. Don't do it because of the carbon dioxide. And test your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. And every person in your home should have a flashlight plus spare batteries. And use battery lanterns if you can instead of candles when possible. If you're planning to drive, avoid driving once the freezing rain begins. It becomes like really, really dangerous. Okay. And bridges, overpasses, and shaded roads freeze first. Now, if you have to drive and you have to be out there, listen, keep a blanket, water, snacks, food, phone chargers, gloves that will keep you warm in case of an emergency. And it's funny because I had an emergency. I don't know if Christy, if you remember this, if you're listening to me, it was in the summer. I had gone to a long trip with my family, road trip, and the car died. Okay, and we we were waiting for hours for the tow truck to come out. But Christy had given me a bag, okay, and that bag had snacks and water in it. And the boys are complaining, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And the truth was, we were waiting for quite some time. So I was hungry too, but I just wasn't complaining. And one of my boys go, oh, what's this? And it was the bag that Kirsty gave us. I think I had two of those bags. And when they opened it, they're like, oh, there's water in here and snacks. I'm like, well, you know, chomp away. And at least they had something to hold them over until we were finally able to get home. So I was very appreciative that Christy had given us those emergency packets, and I still had it in the car. If you have old wiper blades, replace them and make sure that your washer fluid is topped off. And park away. Listen, your insurance people are going to love you for this one, okay? Park away from large tree limbs when possible. And if you are planning to fly and travel, get ready for them to, send you a text, a message, an email saying, I'm sorry, your flight has been canceled or delayed. Now, you should have a power outage plan. So unplug sensitive electronics to avoid surge damage and keep one battery radio or weather app for updates. Use surge protectors for TVs and computers. Know where warming sensors in your area may be. Have extension cords ready if you're using a generator outside. And keep your fridge closed to preserve the cold air. So tell the kids stay out of the fridge. You need something from the fridge, like I do. You need something from the fridge, let me know. I'll go get it for you. Stay out of the fridge, especially in moments like that. Okay, because they will stand there looking for the penguins in the fridge, and before you know it, everything is melted, everything is warm, and you have to be tossing things. Again, when it comes to your pets, bring your pets indoor and have extra food and water for them. And provide, if you live in an area that's that kind of country and you see outdoor animals, provide them, or you have outdoor animals like horses and stuff, provide them with unfrozen water sources. Okay. Add straw or blankets to any outdoor shelter that you may have. And you keep your leashes and your carriers accessible in the place that you know where you put it in case of an emergency and you need to evacuate. Okay, so have their coats, have their leashes in a particular place that you know where it's at, that in an emergency, you can just wrap them up and go. Now, if you have sick people in the home, keep a written list of their medication and dosages, and that is always a good thing to do, whether there's an emergency or not. Okay, you should always have a list of the medication that they take and what dosage. And store a small first aid kit with a thermometer and basic medication like aspirin, Advils, cough drops, cough syrup, band aids, okay, things of that nature. Have backup batteries for medical devices. So if anybody uses a medical device in the house, have a backup battery. And if somebody uses a CPAP per se in your home, um, make sure that you have a way of them being able to access it. Get one of those, if you don't have it already, one of those rechargeable battery packs that comes with the prongs and everything that can last like 8 hours. And if it's solar charged, even better, because you can always put it out in the sun, okay, for it to get recharged, and they have something to use and be safe while they try to sleep at night. And identify a place with power you can relocate to if needed, like a hotel, a church, a shelter, something to that nature. And go to your community's Facebook page. Now, I'll tell you this, my community in New Cumberland, I have to give it to them. They're very good in providing that kind of information online to make sure that everybody is safe as to where the nearest, warming stations are, or shelters, or food banks are, in case you need it. So kudos to New Cumberland for that, because one thing I can say about the neighbors in New Cumberland is that they are very aware, and they will provide the information to make sure that all the citizens are taken care of. So that's something that I have to, um, I have to give kudos where kudos are due. They're very good with that and communicating that. Um, Now, for your protection of your property, of your home, again, move your vehicles away from trees or power lines. Protect your car. Move it away. Okay. Secure outdoor furniture and lightweight items. Now, I don't know who would do this, but hey, the days that we live. Avoid trimming trees during the storm. Do it beforehand. So if you have a problem with a branch and you know that it's a problem with a branch, I mean, chop it up, trim it up now before the storm starts. And take a photograph of your property for insurance purposes of what the before conditions were if something should occur. Now, people, please, 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 during the storm, do not drive, especially if I know you. Don't give me a heart attack. Christy, stay off the road. Do not drive unless absolutely necessary. Okay? You heard that, Christy? Unless it's absolutely necessary, do not drive. Assume downlines are live and dangerous. So if you see a downline, leave it alone, because it is probably live and dangerous. Don't get electrocuted. Use only safe indoor heating methods. Okay. Um, Heaters. There are, it's hard to find, but there are heaters that run on batteries. Okay, it's difficult to find, but they're out there. And then there are those that you can actually solar power. Okay, they're a little pricey, but they are out there. And check on your neighbors, especially the elderly, by phone if possible. If the storm's starting, you don't want to go out there, then give them a call. Mr. Mrs., whoever, are you okay? Is there anything I can help you with? Can I run over, and give you, I don't know, a bowl of soup or something, whatever they may need. Report outages. If there are outages, report outages to the utility company rather than 911. Leave 911 alone, because 911 is for emergencies. Because in weather like this, I hate saying it, sometimes our senior citizens or people with compromised health will go out and shovel and, God forbid, have a heart attack or something, and we need the 911 services to be able to help them. So leave 911 alone. You have an issue with the utility company? Call the utility company. Also, you may want to have, when it comes to your kids, books and puzzles and games to play, because that if the light goes off, there's no computer, there's no internet. They may have their phone charged, but you want them to use their phone for that versus keeping it, charged in case of an emergency. Now, after the storm, walk carefully, because ice refreezes overnight, and we know that. Okay, check your pipe for leaks as temperature rises. Throw out refrigerated food if above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or for more than 4 hours if it was, in the heat. Avoid do-it-yourself electrical repairs around down lines. Let the professional do it. Okay? Don't become, inspect the gadget and get all your gadgets out and try to, do it yourself and get yourself hurt. Let the professional handle it. Now be patient. Restoring power after an ice storm can take several days. Be patient. And the reality is, a quarter of an inch of ice can bring scatter outages. Half an inch can cripple travel and power for days. Ice is more dangerous than snow. So please keep that in mind. For the person who provided me this list, thank you. Now, ladies, a lot of ladies say, well, I have to cook my kids' formula, and in the storm and there's no electricity. What am I gonna do? There's no electricity. It's not like I can, use a electrical, warmer. What do I do? Well, here's a little tip that I've used at times. Okay. And that is, if you have tea light candles and you have a muffin pan, put the little tea light candles in those muffin pans. Okay. So how is that gonna help me, Mariana? Well, I'll show you. Over that muffin pan with the tea light candles, you're going to take the rack out of your oven, or if you have a rack for, a roaster, a smaller one, and you're going to put it over the muffin pan tin. Or if you have cinder blocks like here, like in this image, okay, you can put it over the cinder blocks and you see the candles right underneath. Now, granted, it's not going to make, Thanksgiving dinner, but you can heat up the water, and you can heat up the formula for your baby. You can heat up water for tea. You can make, a couple of jars of soup and then heat it up for your family. Okay. You can make hot chocolate. You can make a quick stew. So you need a small to a medium pan. Okay, you can boil eggs. You can scramble some eggs. You can boil spaghetti. You have some sauce. Throw the sauce in there. Okay, so there's something that you can do. Okay, to be able to feed your family. And it's a good tip to give to your mom. They're up there in age and they'll panic. What am I going to do? Give them this tip. They can either use the muffin tin and just put the either the oven rack, if you don't have one of those from a roaster. Okay, just put it over, and you can put your small pans there and make sure that it's on a solid, area, either on the countertop of not the counter, the stove top. Okay, so you to boil and put the survival food in there. Okay, so there are little things that you can do, okay, to provide for your family and make sure that your family is safe. So this storm is supposed to start. I think it's either late tonight or tomorrow. In this area, we're looking about 8 to 14 inches. Okay, of the people around you, your neighbor, 26, and just be calm. Trust God. Everything's gonna be okay, and we're gonna make it out fine. So this is Mariana from the Boiling Point. God bless and goodbye.